Welcome back to Codex Tactics, where we get you the vital information you need to know to face a new detachment in 40k. Today's 10-minute battle brief, Rapid Evisceration, Codex Emperor's Children. Let's get to it. The detachment playstyle is Transport, Disembarking, Combine Arms. The detachment rule: each time an Emperor's Children unit makes an attack, if it disembarks from a transport this turn, reroll a hit roll of 1 and a wound roll of 1. Notable enhancements: they have ability to bring in a transport from reserves on turn 1, they have an ability to reroll charges when disembarking from a transport and turn off Overwatch, they have an ability for an Emperor's Children unit within 9 inches of the bearer and hit by a shooting attack, it can embark into a transport if they're wholly within 6 inches, and then they have an ability to reduce damage to 0 for an Emperor's Children vehicle within 6 inches of the bearer. Strats and abilities: 1 CP, the fight phase, after an Emperor's Children unit destroys an enemy unit. An Emperor's Children unit can embark within a transport if it is wholly within 6 inches of that transport. 1 command point, the command phase, 1 Emperor's Children unit with an embarked Tormentor's unit cannot be battle shocked. Select 1 objective that Emperor's Children player controls, that transport is engagement range of, and it gains sticky. 1 command point, Emperor's Children player's movement phase. Select 1 Emperor's Children vehicle that has not moved this phase. Until the end of the phase, that vehicle can move through enemy models, not monsters or vehicles. If it can move within engagement range, but not end within engagement range, and all desperate escape tests are auto-passed. 1 command point, Emperor's Children's charge phase. Emperor's Children unit that disembarked from a transport that made a normal move, that Emperor's Children unit is eligible to charge. 1 command point, non-Emperor's Children player's shooting phase. 1 Emperor's Children transport selected as a target. 1 Emperor's Children unit embarked can now disembark wholly within 6 inches of that transport and not within engagement range. 1 command point, non-Emperor's Children player's fight phase. 1 Emperor's Children transport or up to 2 dedicated transports for each of these units selected within 9 inches of a battlefield edge, place into strat reserves. The army rule is Thrill Seekers. If your army faction is Emperor's Children, this unit is eligible to shoot and charge in a turn in which it advanced or fell back. It cannot target a unit it was within engagement range of at the start of the turn, and it cannot target a unit that was the target of another unit's charge or attack this phase. Practically speaking, what does this mean? It means they cannot fall back and charge the same unit that they were just in engagement range with, and they cannot multi-charge into a single unit. Some of the key synergizing units. First up is the Lord Kokophonist and the Noise Marines. So Lord Kokophonist, he's going to lead the Noise Marines, sometimes Terminators. He's going to grant them sustain 1. Typical loadout for him, he's going to have 2 pistols at 3 attacks each, strength 5 minus 1 AP, 2 damage. Now he has a Doom Siren. 1 infantry unit hit by this unit, you're going to roll 3d6 for each 4 up is immortal, and they must take a battle shock test. This is going to coincide with the special rule for the Noise Marines. 1 enemy unit is hit by this unit in the shooting phase. Each time a battle shock or leadership test is taken, -1 to that hit. So the Noise Marines move 6, T5, 3 up save, 2 wounds. They have 4 Sonic Blasters, be 18 inches, 12 attacks, strength 5 minus 1 AP, 2 damage. And then the Blastmasters, 2 of those, totaling 18 inches, 6 attacks, strength 10, AP 2, 3 damage, ignores cover. Or they can be 12 attacks, strength 6, minus 2 AP, 1 damage, ignores cover. They can advance and shoot, and they can fall back and shoot. It has to be a different unit that they were in engagement range of at the start of the turn. And then with the detachment rule, they're going to reroll hits and wound rolls of 1 when disembarking from a transport. Next up is Flawless Blades. The thing to remember about Flawless Blades is they move 8, and they're going to crit on 3+ in the fight phase. So anything in the game, they're going to wound on 3 up. These guys are coming in at a 6-man unit will be 15 attacks, strength 6, AP 3, 2 damage. Lucius the Eternal, he leads the Flawless Blades, or he can be a lone up. If he's not leading unit, he gains fights first. His Lash can be 10 attacks, strength 4, AP 1, 1 damage sustained. The Blade of Lair, 6 attacks, strength 8, AP 3, 3 damage with precision. Lucius rerolls all hits and wounds against characters, monsters, and walkers. The Demon Prince of Slaanesh on foot. If he's nearby, he's lone up within 3 inches of Slaanesh infantry. He has a 2-up fight on death. He grants additional -1 AP on the charge to Slaanesh units if they're within 6 inches of him. And then with the detachment rule, these guys are going to be rerolling hits and wound rolls of 1 when disembarking from a transport, except for the Demon Prince because he doesn't fit in a transport. Infractors are the battle line legionary unit. They're going to scout 6 inches. These are your marine equivalents. They're going to reroll wound rolls of 1 in melee and full rerolls to wound if the enemy is within engagement range of an objective. Typical loadout is bolt pistols, a plasma pistol on the Obsessionist, and then they have dueling sabers and a rapture lash on the Obsessionist. 10-man unit can be a max of 46 attack, strength 4, AP 1/1 damage with precision. They can be led by the Lord Exultant. He's going to give them lethals. Typical loadout for him. And he can, once per game, improve his attacks by 3 and AP by 1. So with the Phoenix Spear, he's going to be a max of 8 attacks, strength 7, AP 3, 2 damage with lance and lethals. And then the Rupture Lash, his extra attacks can be a max of 7 attacks, strength 4, AP 2, 1 damage with lethals. Reroll hit rolls of 1 when disembarking from a transport, and rerolling wound rolls of 1 when disembarking from a transport. Again, the Demon Prince of Slaanesh on foot grants an additional -1 AP on the charge to Slaanesh units within 6 inches. Fulgrim moves 16 inches, T11, 2-up save, 16 wounds, 4-up invuln. He has a lash, which is a max 12 inches, 6 attacks, strength 8, AP 2, 2 damage, sustained 1. Blades with a max sweep attack at 12 attacks, strength 8, AP 2, 2 damage, sustained 1. Or max strike, 6 attacks, strength 14, AP 3, D6 plus 1 damage, sustained 1. If you're hit by Fulgrim in the shooting phase or the fight phase, you're likely going to be poisoned. He selects one of these types in each phase. You'll take D3 mortals on a 4-up in each command phase until the end of the battle. In the non-controlling player's command phase, Fulgrim will choose -1 to hit, fights first, or a 6-up aura of no fallback if a leadership test is failed. Other units to consider: the Tormentors are the Legionnaire Marine equivalent, the other battle line OC2 in this codex. They infiltrate and have sticky. Terminators can reroll charges, but they have to shoot all of their ranged weapons at you. They can decide if they want to shoot or not. If they don't shoot, they can still receive this bonus. Spawn, move 10, T5, 4-up save, 4 wounds, 5-up feel no pain, OC1. They have a reactive move. If you're within 9 inches, they can move up to 6. They're going to be pretty much what you're going to see a lot of players using as objective holders and secondary scorers. And Demon Prince of Slaanesh with wings, he moves 14, he's -1 damage. He's going to do charge mortals on a 4-up for each remaining wound that he has, up to a max of 6. A sorcerer can lead Infractors and Terminators. So transports, as far as the Land Raider goes, disembarking units can charge after it makes a normal move. And then the Rhino, in this detachment, units can disembark after this model advances, but cannot move further and cannot charge. But for a command point, they can disembark and charge after the transport makes a normal move. So the threat ranges: when disembarking from a Land Raider with advance and charge, Flawless Blades with a charge move have a max of about 39 inches, and average about 30. Infractors and Tormentors with a charge move are going to be a max of 38, and average about 29. When disembarking from a Rhino, Infractors with their Scout 6-inch move on turn 1, with their charge move can be a max of 34 inches, their average about 25 inches. Noise Marines out of a Rhino, maybe a max of 51 inches for ranged, and then an average of about 45. And then Flawless Blades with their charge move out of a Rhino can move a max of 41 inches, and they're going to average about 32 inches. So what's a win path look like against this detachment? In deployment, you need to be aware that they can jump in and out of transports, out of phase and out of turn. They can bring in transport unit from Strat Reserves turn 1 with an enhancement. Transports can go back into Strat Reserves in this detachment. Transports can even move through enemy models without taking desperate escape tests. And then transports can also be sticky. If they have Tormentors in the list, they're likely going to wait for you to send something forward to take those objectives because they have sticky. Then they will rush forward with melee threats. If you have access to cheap forward deploying units with high OC, deploying a way to force them into firing lanes with those units, this will force their aggression early. Execution-wise, out-of-phase movement. If you have sticky objectives, keep them at range and reduce the rerolls from Infractors while keeping primary lead. For example, if you have sticky and move off an objective before they touch it in their movement phase, you might be able to keep them off that objective if they fail their charge. Then, their detachment roll prevents another unit from declaring that same charge against that unit. Be aware, again, of out-of-phase transport shenanigans. Don't give them easy charges out of transports. They have minimal ranged anti-tank or anti-heavy in this army. Land Raider is really the only ranged threat with 4 las cannons, and the Blastmasters and Noise Marines can be strength 10 minus 2 AP 3 damage. There's be a max of 6 shots of this per unit of 6. Abilities and enhancements. Remember, they have the ability to turn off Overwatch. And then focus down the dedicated transports. This will dramatically reduce the output as the detachment rule will become moot. Remember these items, and you should do well. Good luck.